Hey everybody, so today I am here to tell you guys about 6 baby products I wish I would have had from the beginning. For those of you who are new to my channel or my videos, I have a 3-year-old daughter Sophie and a 1.5-year-old daughter Remy, and we are currently trying to conceive for another baby. So with making the list of what this next baby might need, I've been noticing that I wish I would have done things a little bit differently. So I thought I would make a little list about stuff that I wish I would have had with Sophie from the start that would have made our lives a little bit easier. So I've got my list. I'm just going to explain a little bit about each one, and if there's a picture to be inserted, I'll just scoot over and insert it for you guys. But to get started, the very first one I wish we would have had from the beginning is the Fisher-Price Auto Rock and Play. Now, we had a Rock and Play with Remy, but it wasn't the auto one, which means it's not going to go all by itself if it's plugged in. It's the one where you had to rock it all by yourself. And we got this because with Sophie, I found myself going to other people's houses when she was a baby, and everybody might be eating or we're doing something and she needed to sleep and I didn't have anywhere to put her. So I thought the rock and play would be a great idea for when those instances would happen and she could sleep in there, which it was. And we did use that at my mom's house a ton with Remy. The rock and play, no matter what version you get, is awesome because I feel like it just folds up really nice. It's compact. It's easy to take to other people's houses and to set up. It doesn't take up a lot of room. It's not obnoxious or anything. And it's just a nice, safe place for baby to be. Remy just really loved that rock and play. It was also really great because she suffered a lot from reflux, and it has a great incline, really, really great incline. So it's great for reflux babies too if you're struggling with that. But Remy loved to be rocked to sleep. She just liked to be rocked in general. It's very soothing even to her still. Now at almost 2 years old, I still rock her and it calms her down. And that's no problem, obviously, and you can rock it by yourself. But when you're desperate just to get some sleep, I really wish we would have had the auto one. And by the time I even knew the auto rock and play was a thing, she was getting to be like 3-4 months old, which I felt like she was starting to slowly outgrow it. So I didn't feel like ordering the auto rock and play was like a good decision at that point. But this next baby, the rock and play we had with Remy, is already at my mom's house. It has been ever since she stopped using it. So my mom's going to keep that one for when we visit her a lot, and we are going to get an auto rock and play for the house. I would highly recommend the auto version, especially if your baby likes to be rocked. I would just go with that. I will say, depending on where you look at, you can get the auto for just as much money as the regular one. It's a pretty affordable piece of baby gear, and it is essential and something I wish we would have had from day one. The second thing is a rocker, glider, or recliner, whatever you want to call it, or whatever one you're interested in. Now with this, I don't know that I would have used it much in the early days because, like I said, my girls liked their rockers or their swings or even just their carriers and holding them. But as they've gotten bigger, I've seen a bigger and bigger need for one, and I really wish that I would have had one. It's something that Mark and my grandma, and I think even my mom, all told me that I should definitely register for with Sophie, and I didn't listen to them. I was like, no, I don't need that. I'm fine. I'll just rock my babies. I'll stand up. Like, who cares? It's not that hard. Well, I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to rock a baby standing up or sitting on the floor, but when your toddler, your 2 or 3-year-old, is sick or they're hurt or they just, there's days where they actually do want to cuddle with you, it's very hard to stand and rock them or sit on the floor. I really wish that I just would have had one from the beginning, registered for it, already would have had it, and I'm sure I would have used it when they were little. I was just really stubborn and I felt like, oh, I know. But actually, I really wish that we had one, and I'm hoping that maybe with this next baby we could get a recliner, even if it's just for the living room, and I could come out here with our sick babies, whatever one it might be, and rock them to sleep with it. The next thing is kind of the equivalent to a Doppler when you're pregnant, but it's an infant scale. I feel like a lot of pediatricians aren't really overly excited that their clients have this. However, it brought us a lot of peace. And the reason being, whether you're either new parents and you're just nervous about baby's weight gain, or you're dealing with something like reflux, or maybe you're worried about breastfeeding and not knowing how that's going, I feel like a scale just gives you peace of mind. Our biggest thing with deciding to get a scale was making sure that it was accurate. You know, that was what I was nervous about. I didn't want this to be off from what the pediatrician scale was like, and obviously the ones that they have at our pediatrician's office cost a ton. And I wanted to find something that was affordable but also seemed to be pretty correct, and the one that I'm going to have linked for you below has always been correct, but it just brought a lot of reassurance to Mark and I. Our youngest, Remy, had a lot of feeding troubles when she was younger, and we just dealt with weight gain issues, and it was just a nightmare. And it was something that weighed on us both a lot. And once we got our scale, it was just a whole different world. It was really great to be able to have the confidence of knowing what was going on with your baby, and I just totally recommend it. It also comes in handy because you can weigh your toddler on it. Like, I still weigh Sophie from time to time. There's been instances with medicine where it needs to be a certain dosage for her weight, and at this point she only goes yearly because she's 3 years old. So, you know, I'm not up to date constantly on her weight as you are when they're younger. So it's come in handy a lot, and this one's pretty affordable. I think it's around $40, so I highly recommend it. Next thing is a breathing monitor. This is something that I really wanted with Sophie, but we did not have the money for, so obviously it's just something we went without. And with that, I would just make sure to check on her a lot. I'd make sure she was breathing, finger under the nose, hand on the chest lightly, stuff like that. And that, for the most part, obviously worked and settled my, you know, anxiety around it. And I feel like it's pretty normal and it's common for moms to go through that. And I figured with having Remy, I've already been through that. Like, I'd be more relaxed because I have been more relaxed in a lot of other stuff. I thought I'd just, you know, we don't need that. It's gonna be fine. I'll be fine. I'm not gonna be that way. No, I was totally that way. There's just something about that newborn. They look so still and rested that you're starting to be like, do they look a little too still to you? Like, maybe I need to check to make sure that they're breathing. And it's just, it's all out of concern and, you know, good intentions, but it does happen to the best of us. I know it wasn't plausible to do with Sophie, but I wish that we had done it with Remy because we would have been able to do it. And with this next baby, we are planning to, because I don't think that I'm ever gonna not check on my babies. And the one that I'm hoping to get is the Owlet. I've just heard a lot of good things. It's a heart rate and an oxygen sensor. It's just something that I've seen with both children being in two kind of different mindsets, that it's still something that I worry about. So I feel like making the investment into something like this is worth the while, also because we plan on having more children. But something else I want to mention is typically these breathing monitors can be a lot, but the more I've looked into the Owlet specifically, the more they try to make it affordable for everybody. First of all, they offer payment plans, which is super cool. I'm not sure necessarily what that means. I think it's around $30 a month, but I could be wrong. They also allow for you to pay it with your FSA or your HSA. That's something that's only going to apply to American citizens probably, because that has to do with our insurance, but they are trying to make these more accessible to people. I think every new mom kind of understands the concept behind these things, and it's all about trying to be a little bit more safe. So the next to the last thing is a baby carrier. I will say that both Remy and Sophie as babies like to be carried. The difference comes a little bit later. As soon as they got mobile, Sophie hated to be carried. I mean, she would push and shove, and she even tried to bite me a couple of times because she hated being carried that much. So with Sophie, it was very short-lived. So I didn't get a ton of use out of it with Sophie, but still I did get those early months. I did use it then. However, with Remy, she has loved it. She still loves it to this day. I will say that now at 3 years old, Sophie loves to be carried when I can put her in a carrier. So how times have changed. However, Remy was consistent. She loved to be held in the beginning. She loved it even when she started to get mobile, and she still loves it to this day. So it has been something that, even though it didn't work with one child that long because we had another and we plan on having more, it's something that I'm still getting use out of. Obviously, it allows your hands to be free, but for me, it was more of keeping baby close. You know, Through my lactation education, I've learned a lot more about what babies' needs are as soon as they come out. And we really are meant to be chest to chest with mom, be close and be held. Babies are their calmest and most content when they are chest to chest with mom, which just helps everybody in the house when they're calm and they're content. There's a whole bunch of different carriers on the market. I have a Solly baby wrap, and I also have the Ergo performance carrier. The Ergo is a soft structured carrier. I really like the soft structure for when they're older and they're more wiggly. It just feels more secure to me. Also, if I'm doing something a little bit more active, I like that one. I loved the Solly baby wrap for newborn days. Oh my gosh, that was so comfortable. It was just amazing. And I recently got a wild bird ring sling that I'm hoping to use with the next baby, and I'm hoping that I like that too. But just no matter what way you go with a carrier, I don't think you can go wrong. And then the last item on my list is a double stroller. Now this is something that up front it is an investment, but it saves you money in the long run if you're planning on having more than one child. For instance, when I was pregnant with Sophie, we registered for a pretty expensive single stroller, which was great and it worked amazingly and it still does. However, we always wanted more than one child. So looking back, it was a little silly to get a single stroller, especially when we wanted our kids so close in age. And a double stroller isn't a necessity like the second the other baby's born, but it does help, and eventually it is going to become a necessity when you want to get out, whether you're going to the park or the zoo or just taking walks. You know, having a double stroller is extremely helpful. So no matter the fact that, you know, we might have not needed it right away, we would have needed it, we do need it in the long run. And I just really wish that we had registered for some kind of stroller that went from single to double or even single to triple. And Joovy actually just launched a new stroller called the Cool. This can be a single, double, or triple stroller, which is just awesome. And I'll leave a link to that down below too. You can check that out to understand what I'm saying, because there's a ton of different configurations and I don't want to confuse you. Like I said, having a double stroller is just something that we need to get out of the house, and I wish that we would have registered for a more expensive stroller up front and been able to add on pieces as we needed them, because the ones like the baby jogger or the Cool, they might be like between $500 to $700, but you're also not replacing strollers constantly because you need a double now and you had a single before and stuff like that. And a lot of these single to double and stuff like that strollers, they have car seat adapters, so it's not like you buy one brand and it's only specific to that. It does work with a lot of different brands, which is awesome too. So those are all of my suggestions. Those are all things reflecting back now, trying to conceive another child. I wish that we would have done a little bit differently. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you're expecting, congratulations. I hope everything goes well with your delivery. But that is everything that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, thanks for watching.